Well, hello everybody and welcome back to a new episode of the Type Tea Time. I'm your host Mirko and hope you're having an awesome day today. It's morning, at least in my time zone. So we're going to do some chilled streaming today. I think it will be mostly repetition of what we've done so far, in a good sense, because we now know what we're actually doing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. No like serious research to be done and whatnot. Just some building this time. Yeah, I think we really need that. Last stream it was a lot of research. In the end, by the way, so I did manage, if you remember, we are building to give you a bit of context, we are building not what is written up here, AWS Tech Stack. We are instead currently building a serverless MailChimp clone. In other words, a service with which you can notify your subscribers, your email subscribers, your newsletter subscribers, that there is a new blog post. And we were working on the subscribe endpoint for quite some time now, in particular because we're checking out AWS or Amazon SES, simple email service, which is just an email provider essentially. But on AWS or within the AWS network. And on the other hand, we are using AWS step functions, which is a way to orchestrate your code and the workflows, building workflows in terms of, if you think about businesses having workflows. That's what we're using to build all of this fun stuff. And well, the people somehow have to subscribe, so there needs to be an API endpoint somewhere, and that's where we're using API gateway. Just one single. That was fairly simple to set up, in fact. Today, I think we're going to continue with yesterday we checked out our two options that we have within this framework of SES and step functions to build the unsubscribe endpoint. And I am fairly sure that what we have here will work. So basically we send a request to the API gateway endpoint /unsubscribe, for example, and then maybe with question mark. Probably it's more like a get here, and then question mark email equals TypeScript teatime@gmail.com and possibly escaped. I'm not sure whether add is an actual escaped character on that point. Yeah, but that should be all right. Worst case is we have to escape that. And then it invokes a step function so that it deletes the contact from simple email service. That's what SES stands for here. We don't need this part anymore. That's kind of outdated. And it is kind of up to date, at least the subscribe endpoint in the stuff that we've actually built inside of AWS. Here in my original planning, I have not updated it. There was one more way that we did check out yesterday to do this, because there is inside of AWS SES, inside of the email service, there is an option to include something like inside of your template, you just write something like, let's see, AWS unsubscribe URL or something, and then it automatically injects hey Sodium, good to see you again. Do you have a new color? Good morning, how are you doing today? So that URL, injecting that URL into the endpoint did not work the way that we expected it. I was thinking that it might be because we are not using SES version 2 to send the email, but it turns out, so eventually I was able to create the email template using SES version 2. And I can also tell you in a minute what was actually missing. But when I actually sent this email using SES v2, basically using this information, like the where we are sending from, the destination where we are sending to, what template we are using, some template data, and also inside of here something like list management options or something. I kind of forgot the exact name. Contact list name and some topic name, I think. Was it? Topic name. Which was in our case like newsletter. And providing this, it should have included the URL to automatically, like click on the subscriber, and then it automatically just unsubscribes this exact user from this exact user here from this topic that this person is subscribed to. But that didn't work. And well, with this not working, even in version 2, I'm like, at least for me, I don't know, maybe I probably did some other mistake at some point, or maybe it's because my domain is not yet validated and I'm not in production mode. But that did not work. So at this point, I am just saying it doesn't work. And we are just going to use step functions instead, which should be fairly straightforward after all that we've done with the other one. We just have to make sure that I actually write it down this time. So let me copy this one and call the serverless MailChimp clone unsubscribe. And this is in fact the subscribe. One of, I don't know, X subscribe. And here we call, this is 2 of X unsubscribe. All right. So, prerequisites, I think I leave that. Well, we can remove all of this fun stuff. But the overview will be very, very similar in fact. Setup. We don't need anything of this. For now, what I want to do is just have a shell here. Oh, you even said Guten Morgen. I didn't even notice, sorry. Guten Morgen. Oh, you. So. Yeah. Now this is going to be more fun, I think. Well, we can remove all of that. So we have a lot of stuff already set up. So what we actually just need, we don't need to actually fiddle around with any kind of templates this time. What we need is, so let me give a short summary. We need an API gateway endpoint. We need to integrate the endpoint API gateway endpoint with the step function. Well, we need a step function. It needs to have, so what does it need to do? It needs to call SES delete contact API, and it needs permissions to call delete contact. Similar, we need our API gateway to have needs permissions to, and I will call invoke. Let me see. Yeah, in this case it's an invoke. Invokes step function. The step function in this case. The state machine is the actual term, I think. And that's already it. I think that's all that's needed for it. We might need to yeah, we might have failed around a bit. Send the correct input to the step function. So like something like email, and this needs to be .request.query string parameters.email. That's what I guess. I think it's $request and not. But I don't know exactly about this part. But that should be okay compared to what we did yesterday. This should be much easier. I think. I hope. I very much hope. All right. Let's get started. I think, first of all, I have to log in. Where's my phone? Okay, I need to get my phone and actually log in. I'll be right back with a logged in AWS user. There we go. All right. So we're back currently in the SES framework, but we want to go to step functions. So here we create something like we call SES delete contact. Delete contact, there it is. And we might need to actually check whether the user actually exists. Let's keep it simple first. First we call delete contact. Contact list name we already know. This is going to be, I think, email, newsletter, contact list. Yeah, like so. And the email address is going to be $.email. And this notifies step functions that we are actually talking about anything that needs parameters, that is coming from the input in this case. All right, and that should be it in terms of this very, very simple one. We might need to call get beforehand and check whether the user actually exists. But I hope that, yeah, in this basic version, that should be about all that's needed there. So let's take our generated code here. And not even going to call our API at this point. So let's say this is a JSON, and this is going to be, how did I call it? Not you, not you. That is also a permission. Where's the actual workflow? There. Subscription, unsubscribe. Like so. A description of the state machine. Deletes a contact from the email newsletter contact list. So that should be about it. It does need these permissions, however. So what we need is, I think we go over to our other friend here. We need to call. So on the one hand, we need another trust policy. And I think this is exactly the same one. Yeah, that's exactly the same one. Oh, do we want, you need to... Let me just check something. Trust policy, specify role. Condition is the principal. Yes, external ID. So the thing that I'm thinking about right now is, can we limit somehow limit the number of roles? Wait. No, never mind. I'm thinking vice versa. This is, I think, exactly what we need. And is also, it also has the right. Wait. Currently we say that this gets attached to where? It gets attached to a role, right? And we allow this role to be then assumed by anyone who is by any step function, right? Yeah, I guess that's fine. Because we cannot limit it because we create the actual role afterward. The actual step function is created afterwards. So yeah. I think it's correct with the API gateway endpoint. So where are we? We want to have. Where's my assume role? Here we go. So we have a create the trust policy. This is you. We just duplicate you and call you unsubscribe. Copy. Oh, no copy. There. There we go. Yeah, I guess that's fine. So then next, finally the state machine, the function state machine input JSON if. So let's call this, what did we call it? I think this one without copy. You need to go there. Is that all? Man, the other one is so much longer. All right. Create the step function state machine input with the following content. And finally, create the state machine with the following command. Well, we get to that in a minute. We create the trust policy. We then create, now we can create the role. And attach the policy to access SES. So next, create the trust policy is one word. Next, create the, what do we need? The policy to access the SES delete contact API on the contact list, on our, I think it's newsletter, email newsletter. What did we call that one? JSON. Next, create the policy. And this one is called, where's my policy? Trust policy, subscribe policy. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's a start execution. API gateway trust policy, and email, PRS, I think. This is unsubscribe policy.json. Right? And the contents should be something like, so the content should be something like delete contact, I think. Well, let's do this with why am I locked out? Okay, oh good. Let's go to I am again. Audio check, by the way, just to see that everything is working. If not, okay, everything's working. Let's go back to music. So inside of here, we want to create a policy for a moment. Right now, we want to create a policy. We choose SES version 2. We choose write access to delete contact, delete email, delete contact. Next. And we then specify contact list, which is US East 1, and the contact list name being, that's not it, I think. Yeah. This. Edit, request permissions, that's fine. Create. Can we render this as a JSON? Yeah, there we go. So I want all of these. Unsubscribe policy. No need for SID. And then we have our policy. So where did the create the role? Here we go. So this one is your region, your account ID. All right. We got those two. Now we can do the API calls to create all of the fun stuff. One being this one, create role, and then put role. Unsubscribe role. Unsubscribe policy. Put policy. We attach you to the unsubscribe role. We take the unsubscribe policy and we take the unsubscribe policy.json. It does not exist. Possibly because I'm in a subdirectory right now. Unsub policy. That looks about right. Yeah, those two match. Create role. Attach permissions to access SES. All right, let's do it. Bams. That seems to have worked. Very good. And then attach the policy of Amazon. So let's try to find this inside of the console. Roles. Where I'm from? I'm from Germany. Where are you from, Sodium, by the way? I'm kind of happy. I'm kind of happy that you asked me. Because that means recently my accent is not as strong. Like a month ago or 2 months ago, my German accent was terrible for whatever reason. When I was speaking English, it was like, oh, the k and the t and the p, like so strong. And yeah, the way German is. You're from India. Ah, sweet. I'm not doing this full time. No, not at all. I have like 200 followers. There's no way I would be able to pay my bills with this. Currently, I'm actually a freelancer, but at this point, I just chill, enjoying some vacation since almost half a year now, I think. Yeah, I enjoy life currently. And preparing for my Japan trip to finally get married, which is about time in like 1 month, the 4th of October. As of then, I actually have to also change my streaming schedule because it's like 8 hours time difference. How do you find clients? I'm typically using LinkedIn so far. Talking to recruiters. Some recruiters are specialized on being like the intermediary between the freelancer or the contract worker and the companies. They get their fair share. You typically have a contract with this intermediary, but they have clients for whom they search, the right people for the right job, right? Or the company tells them their client, for which I actually the real work I do together with this client, but just for the like the intermediary part, there's a recruiter typically in between. As time goes by, I actually want to have more direct contracts, but that also means because the intermediaries take like a 20% cut, right? And 20% is not little. So I can increase my prices by like 20-25% if I am able to have direct contracts with this client company. But it's a hustle. It's pretty annoying to find clients directly. They typically already work with a recruiter. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. The problem is, if you have freelancer status in Germany, you are not allowed to have one single client, and in computer science that's often the case, that you work like full time for 3 months, 6 months, and you work with one client only. The tax offices, then they suspect, because Germany has a very, very strict but also good social security system. But what they think then, if you work for only one client for like 1 year, 2 years, that you're actually kind of trying to escape the social security system. And then they force you to become an employee of the company, which A, you as a freelancer don't want, B, the company does not want. The only one that actually wants it is the social security companies. So you got an offer from Germany. Oh yeah, very cool. Yeah, I had a friend. Oh, I have a friend. He was a co-worker like 2 companies back, 3, who's also from India. He came to Germany and doing DevOps at that point. Oh, and actually one of the testers in that team, the QA engineers, she also came from India. Is there any language barrier? If you speak English and you look for international companies inside of Germany, then you should be fine. I can tell you, I've spoken more English on my job than German. And all of them were German or Swiss companies. Switzerland. Yeah, Swiss companies. So there is a language barrier depending on the company. But if we work with, for example, a recruiter, or with directly with a company that is internationally oriented, then it's probably fine. Ask them during the interview, absolutely do that. How that will work out. That's very, very important, because communication is key, right, in software development. But yeah, after that, depending on those answers and the situation there, you should be fine. About locals, it depends on the city. You had German for 1 semester. Yeah, well, every new language is very, very confusing, right? Oh, my screen turned dark there for a second. German has definitely has its pitfalls. It depends a lot on the city. If you're like in the more rural areas, like not the bigger cities, we have 5 big cities, then it might be more complicated. If you go to cities like Hamburg, Berlin, I'm not sure about Munich or Cologne, because I'm not there that often. Then it should be fine to find friends there as well. Like going to meetups. Thankfully, Corona is definitely tuned down by now. COVID So hey, that's something. That's a good start, right? That's a good start. It always starts with a greeting, right? If you meet somebody, the first thing that you say is hello, and I am. Yeah. So yeah, that's my judgment on it. Then again, I'm a German, so I cannot really tell. I know a lot of people in Berlin who've been living here for 5 or 6, 7 years, and who work in IT, and they cannot speak any German because they say it's just not necessary, so they don't feel the need. And well, you focus on the stuff that you actually have fun with. Seriously, I learned so many bad words in Hong Kongese, in Cantonesian. I wasn't even able to say hi or yes, but I was able to say something like, no, I won't even say that on stream. I learned a lot of bad words in Hong Kongese. A friend of mine so we were together in Japan, and he had a lot of fun whenever he heard somebody speak Cantonese, he said to me like, now it's the time, and then I said in in a slightly louder voice the words that he explained to me beforehand, that we trained together. And then he just looked at the reaction from those people. because as a Cantonese person, or as I would even say as a Japanese as well, when you hear people speaking in your own language in a foreign country, and Japan is a foreign country for Hong Kongese people, for Cantonesians, you first look for the character, or let's say for the looks of a Hong Kongesian people, right? Of a Hong Kongesian person. And I don't look like one. So he had he found it very, very funny. He was very amused that I was the one actually saying bad words in Hong Kongese, and the Hong Kongesian people were like, where did that come from? That was a lot of fun. I'm also sorry for the people that actually because I said very, very bad very, very bad words. Assuming his words were correct, and I pronounced it halfway correctly. Anyway, I think we have our permissions. Now we can create the step function. I did create this workflow, right? Yeah, there it is. And now we can call the create step function. Where is it? There it is. So, like this. I was wondering for a second, why is there no region inside of here? But Identity and Access Management is global inside of AWS. There are a few services that are global. S3 is one of them. And you see that up here. Do you see that? Yeah, you see up here it says global right there. S3 is another one that's global. Right there. So whatever the region that you create it in, you still kind of determine a region, but it's slightly different. You see, at the very least you see everything inside of here for all the regions. If you go to something like step functions, however, you see it chooses a region for you, and I only see the stuff that is actually from North Virginia. If I go to Ohio, this will be empty. That's one of the mistakes that I've made a lot at the very beginning. I was like, where's all my stuff? Oh my goodness. It completely vanished. And after 20 minutes, I was like, I created it in the wrong region. Or I chose the wrong region. And then I had to recreate everything, for example. I've been learning AWS since, I don't know, when did I start? 2019, probably. I started with serverless framework. By now, I'm certified associate level. Like in 2021, I did the AWS certification for solutions architect. Where do they have the? Yeah, here we go. So the basic one, if you want to get certified, do not skip the foundation. Do not skip this cloud practitioner. Just get it over with. A lot of stuff will just build on top of this if you ever want to get certified. I think did I share with you the Coursera course on for the cloud for the foundations? I think I did. Maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was somebody else. But there's a very good Coursera course from the AWS team officially for the cloud practitioner, and that helps a lot. And then the next level is associate, not the professional one. So you really like here, then there, then there, then there. Well, the specialties are kind of separate. And what I have is this solutions architect. I also looked a bit into the developer and the SysOps. Developer is much easier than the solutions architect, I have to say. I think for the mock tests, I finished the developer associate with 9 out of 10 questions, correct? But for the solutions architect mock test, I was like 2 out of 10 at that point. Oh, sorry. Yeah, maybe I just scroll. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you for that note. So the solutions architect is what I have, associate, which is, they say 1 year of experience solving stuff. Solutions architect is like, you go on, you get to know pretty much every service a little bit, and you get to know when to choose which solution. Developer is more like actually implementing all of the fun stuff. And if you get one of these, definitely start building stuff with it. It helps a lot. It helps so much. And SysOps, I cannot perfectly say. This is more in the direction of anything that goes EC2, anything that goes so the how to scale, anything that goes into the direction of auto-scaling groups, anything that goes into the direction of systems manager AWS. I think that's the direction there where this one is going. I did take a quick look, but then I noticed that this is kind of different from what I need, so I went back to the solutions architect. Inside of VS Code. Oh, yeah. So this is the command that we want to run. We did that with the other one. This is copied from the previous one. Create state machine. In this case, we need to give it a new name. Unsubscribe. Unsubscribe. Yep, that's the correct name. And then we give it. So here you do not see a region compared to, for example, this resource here. It says ARN, AWS, SES, which is the service. Your region, your account, and then the details. I can. The reason why I actually moved originally is that's my usual position is right here. The problem is inside of step functions, when I go to the workflow, Now I'm in the way again. So the fun stuff is actually here on the right side and inside of step functions. Typically I am in this position. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. That helps a lot. On that note, how is the audio quality? I'm always wondering, in particular, do I need a plop protector? How do I call these? So that P, K, T, and so on, and S is not as strong on the microphone. The most important point is probably not touching the microphone. Nevertheless, it's nice. Okay, very good, very good. That is very reassuring. So this role is also wrong. It is unsubscribed role now. Yeah, there it is. And we did create that a minute ago. So now I can just put in my account ID here. Which is up here, which you cannot see. It is up here. So you click on your name. It is also this add something something, but you can also just click on there, and then you can copy the account ID. They actually had a UX designer, I think, on that part. Other than that, I'm not super happy with the AWS UI, to be honest. Let's do it. Definition: unable to load param file. No such file or directory. Huh? Ah, I made a typo there. There's a missing I. I could, theoretically. I'm not 100% sure whether I am allowed to. There is something inside of the clause when you become at least I think when you become a Twitch partner, then you have like exclusivity. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not a partner. I'm just I think it's called affiliate or something. Yeah, affiliate is what it's called, so that you can at the beginning you are like, I don't know. I don't even know what it's called. If you start on Twitch, then if you have enough followers within a specific month, you have enough followers, you have enough viewers on average within, I think, a month, then you become affiliate, and as of then you can actually receive money. I think the channel point redemptions are also part of that. I don't think you have them before that. And then there's one more level that is the partner level on Twitch. And I'm not sure which one actually has exclusivity. I know there are definitely people who stream on both. And there are services like Restream. Do you prefer YouTube, or why do you ask? Restream, YouTube, and Twitch? Yeah, Restream.io is one of those services. But at this point, I don't know. Typically, I wouldn't even know how to manage that. I enjoy the community part of Twitch because the Twitch programmer community is pretty cool. I like it a lot. And I wouldn't be able to actually work with two chats at the same time. I don't think. Yeah, you prefer YouTube. Yeah, YouTube has definitely its benefits. I can understand that. I like the Twitch community. Maybe as time goes by, I will restream. But for the time being, I will probably just stick with Twitch. The more important part for me is actually streaming. It doesn't really matter where I stream. Like, how do you say this? In terms of emotionally doing it, getting it done. And I think I have an okay setup by now for Twitch. Doing all of that fun stuff for YouTube right now, I don't know. I don't know whether that's too useful. Yeah, for the time being, I think concentrating on one thing is more than enough. If that's okay with you. If that's, well, it has to be okay with you because it's my decision. if you understand the reasoning, maybe that makes more sense to you. That's what I want to say. All right. I think we fixed the I inside of unsubscribe. That created something. Let's copy the... Oh, that's fine. Yeah. Cool. Very cool. And I think we now have a state machine. We can leave. We don't need that one. There it is. Wee-wee. Woo-woo. It has the correct role. Let's look at... What did I just do? Okay. Edit. And then Workflow Studio. There it is. Yeah, that looks exactly the way that we wanted it. Leave. Now, next part. Well, we can run it, right? Let's try to test one execution of it. We take email inside of here. And let's see, we have AWS SES v2 list contacts like there. Is TypeScript team time still subscribed? Yeah, he is. Very good. So let's take TypeScript team at gmail.com. Did I spell that correctly? Yeah. Start the execution and green. Very good. Which means we also have the right permissions, assuming that if we run this again, we do not have TypeScript t-time in here anymore. It works. Awesome. Whoop, whoop. And we pretty much only used the CLI. The only point where we created, where we used the UI, the AWS console, is for initially creating this state file. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Whoop, whoop. So, from here on, we need attach or API gateway setup. Gateway endpoint. Save. So again, I think we can pretty much copy from what we have here. Wow, this is long. But it should be alright-ish, I think. Oh. Shell. Like so. Now, so here we have API ID, your account ID, your region. And I've set all of that up already. So this now assumes, assuming you have already set up the API endpoint for, or the endpoint, yeah, API endpoint for /subscribe in from our previous article, and then we do something like this. Oh no, I think it's this to-do link to previous article. We just need to create a new route, integrate with our unsubscribe state machine. State machine. Is that how you write machine? Yeah. If you have any English words now that if you need any German words, because machine and Maschine, do we write it with IE? I don't even know. Apparently you don't even... Okay, there's no IE. Very good. Maschine is the German word for machine. So you already know. Now you can say hello, you can count to 10, and now you can say Maschine. Integrate with our state machine, set up permissions, and that's it. And set up permissions, I think. So that said, last time we created the API with this API endpoint, with this API call. Yeah. Then we yeah, we need to create another one of these, I think. API gateway trust policy. SID can go away. We don't need that. How long have you been working? Have you been working with AWS? I know Homeless has. You've also worked with AWS a bit, right? Wait, I'm confused now. Sorry. Not having a face means it is very hard to remember who said what, which is one of the problems when you're actually being in a full remote team, right? Can you remind me of that, Sodium? Hector was using, was just starting out with JavaScript and did some C#. Please remind me. Sorry about that. So we need this. Actually, we can take exactly the same one. We just need to name it unsubscribe here. Probably we can do this. Unsubscribe. Oops. Policy name unsubscribe and unsubscribe. This one needs to be unsubscribe policy, like so. We don't need the SID inside of here. So now we start the execution and we need to, newsletter unsubscribe, like so. I think that's the right ARN. Man, there's too much stuff going on here. Yeah. API ID, stage name default, auto deploy, create integration, API ID, AWS proxy, start execution. We take the unsubscribe role. We take the newsletter unsubscribe workflow here. Yep, which we called like that. And input is now more complicated. API gateway. Let's try to find out what, so this input here is what gets passed from API gateway to step functions, to our workflow. And what we want is, I think we want a get route, get / unsubscribe. Why do we want a get? Because we cannot use forms inside of can we? Yeah, no, I think we need to use a get. Even though we changed something, we are not fully following the like REST API stuff. The problem being, we cannot post a request from within the email, I think. Post request from email. For information retrieval, including links made with the href, only get. If you want to post for whatever reason, you have to create a form with a submit button. I think we want a get request, because this will not, so even if we can use form to have a post endpoint, this only works in the HTML rendered email. But what we need is, we also need to put this link inside of the text rendered, so text only email. We cannot render a form inside of the text only thing. All that we can do inside of there is have just the plain URL, and the user copies it over into his browser, and then can unsubscribe with that. Post URL link in an email. My question, is it possible to put a post request in an email, and if so, how? No, you cannot. Okay. Yeah, so let's go with get / unsubscribe. Now here comes the fun part. Let's go and find out query, also integration, query string parameters. Passing how do I configure my API gateway REST API to pass query string parameters to a backend, Lambda function or HTTP endpoint? Short answer. Configure REST API to pass query string parameters to a backend Lambda function. Use a Lambda custom integration to pass query string parameters to an HTTP endpoint. Use HTTP. Or do we need a mapping template here? Oh, we can do something like this. Okay, so let's first set this up manually. Yeah. Or do we have... So how do we actually pass this request body pass through? Choose the mapping template editor, copy and replace the existing script with the following code. This is actually a nice article in and of itself. If we do request query string parameters to step functions. String parameters, query parameters. So API gateway, API domain names, API stage path. Where else do we have this? Query parameters, there we go. Oh, that's the wrong one. This is if we call API gateway from within step functions. We want vice versa. We are calling step functions from API gateway. So that's vice versa. That's not what we need. Ah, there we go. Path URL, path parameters from API gateway to step function. Interesting. I never knew that this is a link. Is that new? Request ID, context. Where are we? API gateway, latest developer guide. Input variables. Give me. Mapping gateway outputs all the request parameters in the payload as outlined as follows. I'm confused. I'm confused. Let's try to use it via the URI, the UI, sorry. So API gateway. So we do have to do some research after all. Well, at least we have like a very, very strict direction in which we need to go. So if I go to routes and I create a new one and I say get, and I say hello, sir. We create an integration. We say start execution. Yeah, let's just pass it down to this one maybe. That's fine. Attach it. That's the old step functions that we had. And now our parameter mappings are part of the integration. Okay, I see. Transform pass-through behavior, transform HTTP requests. Do we have any kind of query parameter here? Operation URI, query parameters, target specific resources. Now what we need, query parameters. Here we go. Static values or map request data, stage variables or context variables that are evaluated at runtime. I think this is what we need, because we do have a specified, we have an API integration with a specified, with a specified integration subtype, which is step functions. And now we just have to figure out the right thing. Oh man, it was just the way that I thought it was from the very beginning? No, not quite. Not 100%. Oh boy. So that was a good guess. Which means request parameters. I do it like this. So from there to there. Wait, we need the latter one. We do something like this, and now we have to escape even more. This needs to escape. Needs to be escaped. This needs to be escaped. This one needs to be escaped, this one needs to be escaped. And that one and that one. I think this might be it, maybe? Alright. So we already have our stage, so we don't need that one. Did I call this already? And did I actually set anything inside of here? Answer policy. For execution of newsletter unsubscribe. No. Newsletter. Unsubscribe. Oh, I changed the wrong one. So this is unsubscribe, it has unsubscribe here. This is subscribe, it has /subscription here. Very good. Annoying that the naming is inconsistent, but there is nothing like an unsubscription, is there? I don't think that's an English word. All right, let's run this bad boy. Let's start there. That seems to have worked. Oh. Then we put the policy. Looks good. We create the integration. Let's double check that everything works here. Start execution on unsubscribe. Unsubscribe. Yeah, looks good. Do it. Error parsing, invalid JSON, invalid escape. Or do we not need to escape these friends here? Error, invalid JSON expecting comma, delimiter, line 1, character 108, inside of this line. So let's check. This is 147. Said 108, right? Was it? Yeah. Does it expect a 108? Expected a comma. Input colon. So if we format this, JSON, it is not valid. Something is not right. Do we need to triple escape these guys now? That worked. Wow, man. So we use triple. Use to, because this gets parsed twice. On first parsing, this becomes, it becomes backslash, which is then parsed again to become a single, a regular double quote. All right. We have our integration. We don't need to delete it. We don't need to delete it. But, and now we can take a note of the integration ID, or we just find it by clicking, refreshing. There it is. Wait. Which one? The one that is not AX. AW. AW. So copy the from the result. From the returned result, copy the integration ID, the value of integration ID. We needed, right? We needed for the next command to link integration to the route. Right. And now we create it. Babams. Looking good. I think I can remove this route here. The hello route is not necessary anymore. Okay. And now let's see. Save first of all. Perl. So let's subscribe first. That seems to have worked somehow. Newsletter subscription. That has worked indeed. And we should see if we go to AWS API. No. AWS SES v2 list contacts. We should see TypeScript TTAM in here as well. Yeah, there it is. Very good. And next door step is calling the curl command in the right one. Where's my curl again? Curly, curly, curly boy. There he is. Next, we can check that. Okay. This is now testing. Shell. So first, let's ensure that the contact we want to unsubscribe is actually in the contact list. If it is there, we can test the unsubscribe endpoint using curl. If not, subscribe to the newsletter first, either by calling the curl from our previous article or by using the web form. No, not quite. GitHub Copilot, not quite. Or by just running the following command. Shell. This is also shell, by the way. AWS SES v2 create contact email address, your email address with place your email address. Okay. Now it is time. Do the thing. We don't need this second part here. It is not a get. It is a. It's not a post. It's a get. We call /unsubscribe /email equals. Oh, now comes the fun part. don't need any headers, I think. HTML encode, sorry, URL encode. TypeScript at gmail.com. Yeah, okay. TypeScript ttime at gmail.com encoded. This will be like so. Now it is time. Also want to duplicate this. And what we actually want is your email, it is URL encoded email address. Place the email you want to subscribe to, use, most importantly, what does curl that actually, does curl do that automatically? Let's try. Message not found. The endpoint does not exist. There's our get. We have an integration set up. Is the email, the address still correct? Eve online, yeah, that still seems to be alright-ish. Ah, it doesn't, it is not a quest. I need to use a question mark. I need to use a question mark right there. What I did was I had another backslash here. It needs to be a question mark. This marks query string parameters. So do it. No matches found. No matches found? Oh. HTTPS. Actually, I think we can just curl this. Done. And I also need to write TypeScript correctly. Man, wow. So little code and so many typos. Oh, why does it not copy it properly? Okay, now we go. Now we're good. Bad request. Okay, I'll be back in like 2 minutes. Just a short break. Break. I just noted that it would be very nice if we just had the commands in the break screen. Let's add that to the to-do list. Throw it on the pile. Throw it on the pile. Add commands to or list commands to break screen. And probably also for commands to break and starting screen. Right. Let's have some more tea. It is time. It's almost 12 o'clock now, huh? But we're making good progress, I find. We are very close to actually doing the thing completely. And we have it completely coded. Right here. Of course, I still need to clean it up a bit here and there, but yeah. It's looking alright-ish. So we get a bad request. Do we get bad request? How do we use curl URL? Shouldn't that like work? Know what? Test.http. And we just say get what he says, unsubscribe email, blah 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 blah. Bad request. Is it because we did not escape this? It was %40. Like so maybe. Bad request. All right. In that case, let's step into API Gateway and see what's actually happening. Do we see any kind of... yeah, thank you. Stage automatic deployment is enabled. Throttle reimports, routes, PIs. Yeah, newsletter. Where do we see the CloudFormation, sorry, CloudWatch logs? Oh, we can export it using... very nice. Very nice. So there is a way to export it. Very cool, very cool. They should just put that on the route or on the API, but... well, additionally, I think. Because here it's hard to find. But very cool. Stage tags. Invoke URL. What if we call this without anything? Bad request. So this one works. Just to be sure. Yeah, that one failed, the last call, because it was already there. We go to unsubscribe. We only have the one request that we did 40 minutes ago for testing. And it worked perfectly fine. So this state machine was not called. Where do we get the issues? Let's see whether we checked out the input correctly. Request parameters. Input, email. Query string, email. That seems to be alright-ish. Going back to API Gateway and looking at the integrations. Match. Here we go first. Request, query, string, email. Where did I get that one from? Request header. Oh. It doesn't matter which one we use. Okay. Dollar request dot query string dot name. That's perfect. So query string names are case sensitive. API Gateway combines multiple values with commas. For example, query string 1, value 2. Okay. That's fine. Input query string dot emails. Do we have examples here? Yeah, there we go. And header. Add a header to an API request. Following example adds a header named header1 to an API request before it reaches your backend integration. Okay. Creation method any. And headers. Here we find the same one. $request dot query string dot name. It seems to be alright. This is pretty much the same that we do. By the way, very good thing that we should add to here. AWS how to integrations. Working with AWS service integrations, AWS API Gateway, working with SES AWS service integrations. This link is important too. Let's just add it up here. Mm-hmm. Looking good. It's still not 100% correct, apparently. Question mark email equals time@gmail.com. Where do we get bad request right there? Bad request. AWS API gateway responds with bad request. Fix the most common blah blah errors. Dashboard. Bad request. Broadest of client errors. Depending on what AWS service API gateway is integrated with for the URL, it can mean many things. A retry usually doesn't help because it means the request doesn't match. Yeah. So it doesn't help to make the same API call multiple times when you get the 400. Oftentimes you have invalid JSON, missing fields, wrong data types, or invalid characters. Get $request query string email question mark email equals hi at TypeScript ttime@gmail.com. And now we URL escape this part, which becomes %40. That should do it, right? No. Okay. So I didn't make a typo in this case. Response parameter mapping not configured. $request body. Oh, wait. Let's try this one first. We reconfigure it. We just say you take this dude. A string that contains the JSON input data for the execution. Do we need to do this dude here again? Or we have to attach a remapping. AWS API gateway. How to use I think we might need to use a mapping. Yeah, mapping template is what we need, I think. Mapping template editor. Use this. Let's try it by just providing this. If. And I just want to see whether it works now or not. Very good, very good, very good. So now it calls it. So we are not allowed to directly provide a JSON in that field, apparently. We instead have to probably define a parameter mapping. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, should be all right, I think. If we go to the CLI once more and we look for create mapping, something with parameter. Mapping template. How do we do with this with the CLI? Set variables, a parse, API gateway, AWS, API gateway, gateway, CLI, create mapping, parameter mapping. How do we do this? Right. Is it API mapping? No, right? No, I don't think it is. Domain name, integration, template selection expression, request parameter, request templates, maybe? Sends a map of velocity templates that are applied to the request payload based on the value of the content header type. Support only for WebSockets, so that's not it. What is a velocity backend? Request parameters. Okay. Here's an idea. We just take I would like to use the I would like to use it properly. Because in a real world use case, you would probably not just provide the email, but instead something slightly more private and something that is slightly more unknown, like the user ID. Even just. Otherwise, somebody could just call this endpoint with your email address. I could just go ahead, call the endpoint with your email address, and all of a sudden I cancel for the I cancel your email subscriptions for you, which you probably wouldn't like, at least if I didn't tell you. So I know of a simple way to make this work, which is this one. And then we could change the workflow. But I would like something more sophisticated. Oh, I have an idea. Version responses that match the parameter mapping. Oh, that's something else, huh? Ahead for the incoming request status code. Value. No, that's not it. Well, I guess then, or can we just do this? Where did it go? Oh, advanced. We just take that one. We are now vulnerable to overposting, unfortunately. Invalid. Okay, invalid. Well, then just take the email, I guess. We just take the email. And we do that in the article as well. In fact, I want to delete the integration. I want to delete the integration. And go back to create integration, and then we just say, oh boy, so we don't need you, we need input double. No, input is just request query string email. I think we can get rid of that one as well, right? So one starts here. And it ends there. Very good, yeah. All right, so let's recreate this bad boy. Integration ID. I copied the key, but not the value. Well, it should be easy to find out. Okay, there it is. Do API gateway and the con. Select your API. Select integrations. Yeah, something like that. Now we have our value right there, and we can call our create route endpoint like so, And now we have to change our workflow. That's important. We have to change our workflow to be... Where's my step function anyway? State machine, there it is. This here, delete contact, and it's just $ now. Just $. We will, for the email address parameter, we just use the complete, just use the state machine input $. That means our API gateway needs to pass down the email directly as the state machine input, like so. We later need to set up our API gateway endpoint to pass down the email to directly pass down the email into or as into the state machine input. All right. Okay. Did I change that? I didn't, right? I think we can use update state machine to do that. State machine. My guess is the following. Nope. Too bad. Nice try. Step functions, index. We are looking for update state machine. We need the state machine ARN apparently. Where do I have our state machine? There it is. Very good. Going back, 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 back. Update state machine. Update state machine. Where did I create that? Damn it. Update state machine. There it is. Okay. So it's this value here. And we update it with this definition file. Worked. Very good. Very good. So we updated the API gateway. We updated the integration. We updated our workflow. It should just work at this point. I'm still not 100% sure whether I need to, whether it automatically HTML escapes this or unescapes it in this case. Sorry. Unencodes it. I expect token TypeScript T time. Was expecting JSON string. Yeah. Come on. JSON string number array object. So we're not even allowed to provide a JSON, are we? How? So if I escape this, does that change anything? No. Okay. Let's see. Let's take a short break. I think we need a bit of headspace at this point. Just a little bit of stretching here. A bit in this direction and spreading the fingers very widely. Get the blood flowing again. Maybe move the shoulders a little bit. Okay. Maybe also switch the music, because I've been listening to the 5-minute song for 2 hours. Need some of this. Oops. Okay. Now, how do we reform this input properly? API gateway, AWS API gateway, integration input. Dum-dum-dum. Do we have something like input? Here maps an incoming request into the input event parameter of the Lambda function. There's little, yeah. I'm looking at Lambda, by the way, because there seems to be little documentation on API gateway. API gateway to step functions integration, which is a bit of a bummer. But maybe we can fill that gap. There seems to be some need for that, at least. So this is how the Lambda function receives it. That's not very useful. How did we do it for the post? Just say request.body. Why can we not say request.queryString? Why is this not an option? If we say query strings, nah, unfortunately no. Ta-da. Oh, here's an idea. It's not great, but we do the following. We JSON encode this. Sorry, we HTML encode this here. So can I just do this and it works? Save. Oh boy, that actually works. So we have to... SES can only, it seems, work... Sorry. Step functions can only receive inputs as JSON. For the query strings, however, we enter API gateway integration. We cannot directly use query would work. We need to, if I have this directly as query parameter email, then it complains with I need a JSON string or an array or a number or whatnot. On the other hand, if we put everything inside of a stringified and URL encoded JSON that we call as a property input, then input is now a real JSON, and we can send it over to step functions. Step functions now sees, it receives this thingy here. It sees it has an email property, and then it can read all the fun stuff out of there. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what I should say about this. So we call this one just input right there. And we also changed the curl into whatever he is saying. So REST client generate code, shell curl, yes, thank you. So that's definitely one version of doing it. TP. This translates to maybe curl can do that as well. Can it? I don't know. Let's try. Curl, what he says. No. That doesn't work. Although it did send it, weirdly enough. Do you work? Yes, you work. Okay, very good. Do I need any of this, or can I just curl it? That works as well. Very good, very good, very good. We did it! To the... This translates to the following HTTP request. And inside of there, we provide your URL encoded email address. Like so. Without the 22. Come on. Without the 22. Very good. We did it. It works. It works. Let's check our workflow. State machine unsubscribed. It failed a couple of times, which is, I think, okay. Oh. Oh. We need to adjust our workflow once more. We take $email. I think I removed it and now I have to add it again. The email. And I also need to do that inside of here. Dot email, save, and also inside of there. Dot email. And now if we do the call again, there it is. So this one, that works at the very least in terms of the HTTP request, and we say success. Oh, look at it, it's green. Oh. Doesn't that feel good? Very nice. To double check, let's run the this context again. We're successfully unsubscribed. Let's run this context again. Shall. Oops, there we go. Not create contact, list contact. Yeah, this one. Whoop whoop. Party. Need some emojis here. With my congratulations. In the other one, right? Congrats. There and there and there and there. Whoop whoop. So let's do it. And I hope it's gone. It is gone. Let's run it once more to see what happens when we run this multiple times. It fails. Okay, very cool. That's kind of what I expected, but that's fine. That is fine. What we probably now want to do, but not today. For today, I'm pretty much done, I think. We can use... There is something like a catch, if I remember correctly. Or is there not? Step functions, catch, error. Maybe I'm wrong. The catcher returns a string payload. Retry. Well, at the very least, we got a green. We've got one green inside of here, which means our workflow worked. Very nice. And completely from the CLI, pretty much. We've got everything codified, which I'm very, very happy about. Very nice. Thank you so much, everybody. This was the TypeScript tea time for today. From now on, I'm going to have a party, I think, as of 14 o'clock, in fact. Looking forward to that. I thank you so much for joining me here in the TypeScript tea time. I'm your host, Mirko. Hope you had a great time. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm very, very happy that it works, our unsubscribe endpoint, and that we also validated a lot of the code that we've written for the subscribe. We definitely have improved in terms of our understanding. In terms of step functions, API gateway, as well as SES, I think. So that went fairly smooth. There were a bit of hiccups, in particular how we handle the mapping from query string parameter from the HTTP request down to actually pass it as the email parameter in the input of our step function. But we got that one covered with a, well, fairly easy workaround eventually. Yeah, and with that, I think we're done for today. I hope to see you next time. Feel free to follow. And with that, I say goodbye. See you next time. Ciao, everybody.